Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey and this is the brand new second generation BMW X2. More specifically, this is the xDrive28i with the M Sport package. And yes, I know that is a lot. As this one sits, it is $52,000, all-wheel drive, turbocharged 4-cylinder power under the hood, and it makes me wonder, would I purchase this over something like, oh, I don't know, a Genesis GV70? Stay tuned. All right, getting it out, you can actually see why I'm in a parking garage. Unfortunately, Hurricane Beryl has decided to come through East Texas on my normal filming day. So yes, I was relegated to a parking garage for filming interior and exterior. My apologies, but setting off in this one, it is an ultimate driving machine. We'll get into all of that, starting with what powers it under the hood, because there's a little bit of controversy there. So yes, let's talk about what is under this double latched hood here. And there's a little bit of controversy, if you will, about a brand that says they build the ultimate driving machine, having what is, well, a transversely mounted turbocharged 4-cylinder. Yes, even though all-wheel drive is standard on the X2, this is still a front-wheel drive based platform, and the situation of this 4-cylinder, well, it shows you that. The engine of choice is a 2-liter twin-scroll turbocharged 4-cylinder, making 241 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. It does, yes, send power to all 4 wheels with BMW's xDrive through a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. And Car and Driver claims it's good for a 5.7 second 0 to 60 time. All right, getting in it though, I'm gonna go ahead, hit this button right here, put it in sport drive mode because the road is clear. I'm gonna turn and come to a complete stop. Nobody behind me. Full on the brake, full on the gas, and dump the brake. Took a moment to realize what I wanted it to do, but now it's doing it. So even though it has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, that Car and Driver 5.7 second 0 to 60 time is what I remember from Camaro SS's and Mustang GTs when I was getting into cars. So even though it's got half the cylinders and less than half the displacement, still decent 0 to 60 times. And again, you can get even faster with that M model. But yes, we have a lot on this vehicle to help that engine make the most of its power, including a 7-speed dual clutch that I mentioned, and that xDrive all-wheel drive, which really does come in handy on a day like today. Not to mention the summer tires that are on this one. In fact, let's do a quick exterior tour and we'll talk about those tires. Yes, BMW styling as of late has been controversial, to say the least. But I would say this is perhaps one of the better looking ones that they've introduced here in modern years. Although I will say the kidney grille looks like it was stolen out of the HVAC system of a Mazda CX-5. Go look, you won't be able to unsee it. This is a very handsome, very athletic looking crossover from BMW. We've got chiseled lines throughout. We've got LED headlights, tail lights, turn signals, running lights, all the things, all the modern amenities you would expect from a modern luxury vehicle. And yes, I do appreciate, even if they do look like a Mazda HVAC system, the kidney grille looking more like this than what it does on the iX or the 4 Series, for instance. Otherwise, it is a very bold, aggressive front end, a lot of contrasting black to this storm bay gray, which I really like. You can see here we do have air pass-throughs here that are actually real, they aren't fake, and it gives it a overall very aggressive appearance. Of course, a lot of that is due to the fact that we have the M Sport package on this one. One thing I really do like on the front end styling is, I know it's hard to see here in the low light, but the way the hood is chiseled and sculpted around the kidney grille with that BMW logo kind of wedged in there in between. It is a very cool look, both from the outside and from the inside. As we pull around to the side of the vehicle, you can see it's a very aggressive SUV coupe-like look. Again, this is a brand that claims to build the ultimate driving machine, and SUVs don't typically lend themselves to great driving dynamics just because of their taller, higher center of gravity and such. But I'd say they did a great job with the styling on this. I'd say it even looks better than the boxier, squattier X1 on which this shares a platform. Coming down to the wheels, we can talk about what sets this one apart and why, yes, I keep bringing up the fact that it's an ultimate driving machine, because a lot can be said about the intention of a vehicle by the wheels and tires that they put on it at the factory. This is got a M-specific 19-inch wheel wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4 summer tires. So these are very good performance tires when the conditions are right. Obviously, they are not for me today, but they are 245/45 R 19-inch summer tires, and you can see just how sticky they are. They've picked up all this stuff here in the parking garage I'm filming in right now, but they are, yes, in fact, a summer tire. So you are giving up some SUV capability for some sporty driving characteristics, and I appreciate it. Again, this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, but it is a front drive based platform. As we come around to the side, hi, you can see my shadow, sorry. Got a hurricane moving in and has limited me to filming in this parking garage, but the profile of it, a very interesting profile for sure. I'd say BMW has a very storied history of very boxy designs. I'm thinking of 80s and early 90s, and boxy designs are in right now, but BMW designers are kind of forging their own path. And here we get a sportback coupe-like design that does look very cool, very sporty, and definitely accentuates the length of this vehicle. You can see the rising belt line for the windows and everything just kind of culminating back here in the sportback. We do have a little black lip spoiler on the back, LED lights and such back here as well. And as we pull around to the back, you'll actually be able to see a little bit better here with the lighting. A continuation of the same lighting elements in the LED taillights that we saw up front. You'll see that echoed again on the interior of this vehicle. You get that big, bold, prominent BMW badge right in the middle of the liftgate. X2 on the left, xDrive28i on the right. No visible exhaust ports on this. I do believe if you opt up for the full M, which isn't really a full M, BMW's got a problem with their M branding. They've watered it down too much. But the top trim of the X2, I do believe, gets visible exhaust tips. No visible exhaust tips on my xDrive28i. And then, speaking of visible anything, the rear hatch release is actually visible, though you might not know it. It is, of course, the BMW badge. You just push in the top and the power liftgate opens up rather large and nicely, giving you a decent amount of cargo space back here. We do, of course, have a hard parcel shelf, which those seem to be coming back. I don't exactly know why. I would rather a retractable shade, but a dual folding hard parcel shelf tonneau. You can see there's another section back here that hides your stuff from prying eyes, and then a decent sized cargo compartment back here. Here, let me turn on the light. Is that a little bit better for you? So yes, back here we do have a little bit of storage right here, sunken into the floor just a little bit. And then we've got a cargo net over here where I've got my additional cameras, but it is large enough for a carton of a dozen eggs if you need it. Decent sized storage space down here. A multi-folding cargo cover right here that does give way for the temporary spare tire. You can see we've got all of our equipment back here for changing a spare, and all of this is actually fabric lined, so you're not going to get a lot of noise and vibration transmitted from the road from driving through this compartment. So that is a very nice touch to have just a little bit of hidden storage up underneath there. We do have this hard parcel cover, but that can't be removed. We have a 40-20-40 split bench back seat with top tethers all the way across, so that is a very nice touch for if you need to bring car seats. And then we get the lift gate itself. Well, go ahead and come to me. I'm 5'10". You can see just how wide it opens, but because of the sportback coupe-like nature of this, the hinge point is really far forward, just kind of changing the overall dimensions of how this opens. Another interesting thing about how this opens, there is no gas strut or anything holding it up. All the weight is supported with the hinges right here. And this is something that I have only seen on BMWs and one other vehicle. And oddly enough, that one other vehicle is a Honda Odyssey minivan. So, nice touch. You have a power close button right there, brings it all nice and tidy back to a close. Moving to the inside of this one, this is still a luxury crossover vehicle, so there are still some things that you're going to come to expect in a luxury vehicle. Comfortable seats with at least heat, memory settings, head-up display. You know what? Let me take you on a full tour of the inside. Before we get in this one, I do want to show you the key. It is a BMW key through and through with the M colors on it. Again, BMW has a problem with watering down the M to me, but you can see we've got lock and remote start here with the BMW logo. Then we've got panic, your hatch release, and unlock right there. It is a proximity key, so you can just keep it in your pocket, your purse, wherever you do, and walk up to the vehicle. As you do, it knows that you're up close to it, and then we get this cool M puddle lamp, again, watering down the M brand, but it unlocks the driver's door for you and beeps, and if I were to walk further away, it'll automatically lock and fold the mirrors back up and do all of that necessary stuff. See, there it goes right there. But as I come back up to it, I can very easily and nicely get in. I really do like the door handles, the design of them. They are very flush, but they are not, like, they don't present themselves and stick out, so it's one less thing to break. They are a proximity key, but the back doors do not have that proximity sensor, only the front doors, so I can't lock or unlock from the back doors. Taking a look at the door panels, I'm going to do my best to show off the interior in the dim lighting here in this parking garage. So sorry again for that, but we've got this brown contrasting against the black, contrasting against the silver. Lots of colors, lots of textures, lots of designs going on in here. Really like the metallic look, if not true metallic. This is really metal right there, but this I'm pretty sure is plastic. I don't know, it's very hard to tell, but this is just a little chintzy to me. It moves around a little bit too much, but it is a nice cool design element, and BMW seems to be fond of these kind of angular like designs. We saw them in the headlights and the taillights, and you'll see them more as we move into the vehicle. You can see we've got all your window and mirror controls here, two-person memory seat, and lock and unlock right there. We do have a power driver's seat, so you've got all your controls right there with a manually extending thigh support, which is nice for taller drivers. And then some perforated seats here that are very comfortable. These are the sport seats, and we've got bolsters up on your shoulders and your hips, just everywhere. These seats really do hold on to you nicely, but they are rather slim. So if you are larger of frame, definitely come sit in one, test one out for yourself. But we'll go ahead and pop in. Oh yeah, these are very comfortable seats. We'll go ahead and pan around now to the gauge cluster. 10.3-inch digital screen here, 10.7-inch digital screen here. All of the electronics come on when you approach the vehicle and open the door. So kind of like an EV, it's kind of on before it's actually on. So the engine isn't on, but the vehicle is kind of on, and you can see I can access stuff. Again, we get the design from the headlights and the tail lights. We see that again down here. It's echoed throughout, but I'm going to go ahead, close the door here, put my foot on the brake, and push the engine start button right there and let this thing fire up. We do have adaptive headlights and all that good stuff, so that is a very nice touch. They are automatic. All those controls are right over here, as well as their brightness. We do also have a hatch release button right there that I want to call to your attention. Looking at the steering wheel, I love the steering wheel. It is the perfect thickness, and it is wrapped in soft leather. It is very comfortable, very nice. Definitely lends itself to the sporty, ultimate driving nature of this vehicle. I love this steering wheel, though the buttons and controls are not my favorite on the steering wheel. It's a little too minimalistic for how much you can customize the dash, the head-up display, and all that. I will go ahead and show you the head-up display in its current format. There are multiple different things that you can do to adjust it, all of which are right here on the screen. So I can change what content is displayed here in the center section. I can have a map, I can have lots of different things displayed here in the center section, or just have my speed. But since it only moves the speed over here, I kind of like to have my fuel economy. Then I can go to my different layouts right here. So lots of different layouts that I can pan through. I'm going to keep it right there. And then I can go to my head-up display, and I can change through different views here. So standard, assisted, and sport view, all kinds of different things. And then all of that is controlled here through this click wheel and knob. I do have my controls for my music and infotainment and my cruise control. It is an adaptive cruise control. It is hands-free in optimum conditions, though I have not figured out what those optimum conditions are. I do believe this is or must be a pre-production model because there are some bugs in the software, most notably, and you will see it, you probably saw it on the B-roll I put over of the head-up display. It reads the speed limit signs in miles per hour, but translates it as if it were in kilometers per hour. So if I pass like a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit, it's warning me that it's really 35. Very odd. But again, a bug, I'm sure, in the software of this one. You can see these red lights here. I cannot see those with my eyes. They're only picked up here on the camera. But that's watching me, making sure I'm paying attention. There are some lights here on the steering wheel as well to alert me to grab the steering wheel if I'm using hands-free or lane keep, and it's just a reminder, hey, hold on to the steering wheel. Again, we have a 10.7-inch infotainment system here. It does support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto without a subscription, and it is wireless, so I like that a lot. You can see our HVAC controls are relegated to here because I get one massive air vent for me right here, and my passenger has two, blasting them directly in the face right over there. I don't know if that's the best design for what is supposed to be a family vehicle, but here we go. One massive air vent right here, two over there that make it very hard to blow around the front passengers. I'm gonna have to sacrifice my middle one just to get some air back there, but we'll talk more about the back seat here in a little bit. And then you can hit your home button. This is your standard home screen. Again, talking about the glitches with this, I don't think this vehicle exactly knows where it is, what continent it's on, because there have been times where this will display the temperature in degrees Celsius, and then with a click or two just on something else entirely, it realizes, oh no, I'm supposed to be displaying in Fahrenheit. So there are some bugs, there are some glitches. You have some quick access shortcuts there. You can pull over and change your modes right there. And then you can pan through a few different things here on the side on your home screen. It's nice. It does change with your different drive modes. So I hit my modes right there. I go into sport, and that changes the interior lighting in here to be more red and dynamic. It changes the layout here. It changes my head-up display. It changes a little bit of everything, including the driving characteristics of this. We'll talk more about how it drives in just a little bit, but I did want to call that out. You've got that my mode right there. You can also customize it, so you can change your drivetrain settings, your steering, and your driving dynamics. So all of that is customizable. We can go ahead and go into efficient again, changes the lighting and a few different things in here, and it is very calming, I will say, even with that screen there. But very nice system. Aside from the bugs, it has worked well for us. The software behind it is quick and snappy, so I like that. And then you have your quick access button there to get to your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Dual zone climate control in this. We have heated front seats and a heated steering wheel. No ventilation up front, even though we have perforated seats. So that was something I was a little disappointed about here in the heat of summer. A lot of the controls, if they are not touch controls up here in the screen, are right here at my fingertips, right where my hand rests. You can see I can go into drive or reverse right from there. I've got all these buttons right here for my drive modes and my volume, and forward and back for my audio controls, as well as my hazard button. While I've got it in reverse, I will go ahead and show you the cameras in this. This has got a truly amazing camera system in it. Cameras all over the place. I can even select auto mode right here, and it'll automatically adjust the cameras based on my needs. Or I can look at the side of the vehicle or this side of the vehicle. I can see down from the front, or again, set it to automatic mode. There's panoramic view, so it gets rid of my bird's eye, and then my parking view, which I really like. I'm gonna go ahead and show you here. This has got a pretty awesome parking and reverse sensing system. They call it Smart Backup Assistant. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in reverse, and you can see Start Backup Assistant. I'm gonna put it right there. You can see it draws a line, kind of giving me augmented reality. I'm just gonna go ahead, give it a little gas, and I'm not holding the steering wheel, I'm just modulating the brake, and it is gonna put me exactly back into the parking spot I just left, all by itself. This worked so well that it was able to back us out down my in-laws' long country driveway completely hands-free. It was very nice. I will say though, the chime, you may have heard, every time I hear it, it makes me think of Super Mario Brothers. So there is that. We do have a Qi wireless charger here behind this little gripper. I'll go ahead and show you with my iPhone 14 Pro Max. It fits all kinds of phones. It does work well, and because it holds my phone in place, I don't really have to worry about it. So very nice there. A couple cup holders right here that are nicely situated. They are a little bit of a reach, but it's not too much of a complaint. Two USB-C ports right here that do interface with the system right here, but again, wireless. And then we've got a lot of storage underneath here. You can see Holly's got some sunglasses. It's all rubber lined. So you do have storage in here, but it's all exposed. We do have a little bit more storage here under the center console. You can see Holly's got her wallet in here, but very tight quarters here under the armrest. I'm not quite sure what you're supposed to put there. Maybe a couple of quarters? Not exactly sure. But yeah, a little bit of storage there. Lots of storage in the doors. And then a very interesting, very deep, very far back set glove box that does have rubber lining down here underneath, even if the rest of this isn't felt. And you can see it is damped. So a lot of storage in interesting places up here. But yes, no real covered storage, so to speak, up here. Coming to me, again, I showed you I've got plenty of headroom. I even have a massive panoramic glass roof up above me. Doesn't open, but the shade does open, and it does take a little while to roll back fully, but that's a nice touch. Gives you a nice open air feel here in the cabin. I do want to make sure that I am actually in park before I pop out and show you what the back seats are like here in the X2. Go ahead, open them up. They are nice wide opening doors. So for installing Tucker's child safety seat, be sure and hit that subscribe button and you'll see exactly what that is like. We do not get any shades built into the rear windows here, which I guess in a entry-level vehicle is just fine, but you can see we get the same door pulls that we got up front. It's interesting that there's like no grab handle or anything down here. It kind of eliminates some storage that I know a lot of people use. And I've had to get used to grabbing this instead of going to grab like that. But further storage down here in the door as well. You can see decent space back here in the back. Again, these are 40-20-40 split bench second row seats. You can see they are also perforated. We've got a cool design in them, but I'm gonna go ahead, climb in behind myself at 5'10". You can see I've got a decent amount of room. I will say though, this seat does scoop back for ingress and egress, so this isn't exactly where I drive. I've got no complaints with the space back here. It's plenty roomy. And then when it comes to amenities, I was talking a lot about the single air vent right there, but we do have two air vents back here that can be positioned to the passenger. We also have two USB-C ports, a little bit of storage down here. We've got this center tunnel. So I don't know that you're going to be putting 3 people back here. It is a little on the narrow side as well. You can see, I'll go ahead and show you over here, sloping roof line because of that coupe kind of leads me to being just the right size back here. I'm not too tall, but I'm right at the limit. I will say though, there is at my hip a little bit of, or a little nylon strap that allows me a little bit of recline here in the seat, but not a lot. So there's not a lot of extra space that can be gained. And that is also here on the center seat. That is also how you fold it forward if you need to fold it forward for longer items, but there's the most upright position. The headrest does pop up, but you are absolutely 100% going to want to leave that down because the visibility out of the back of the vehicle is atrocious. You do pay a penalty for the coupe-like profile of this. There is your tiny back window, and yes, it is just so hard to see out of. And yeah, if you put that up, you're not going to see. So definitely put that down. We do have a third seat belt in the ceiling there, but you're probably not going to use it. We do have a fold down center armrest with 2 cup holders. I like how it stays in the right position. It doesn't flop all the way down to the seat bottom. So that is a very nice touch. All the way around, a decent interior, but not super luxurious, but it's got all the right creature comforts that you would expect. But you're really buying a BMW because of its driving nature, so let's get into that. How does this thing drive? It's been surprising to me. Again, it's a front drive biased platform. It is shared with the X1, which is their entry-level vehicle, and I didn't have super high expectations, but knowing how competitive this segment is getting, I referenced in the intro the Genesis GV70, which I loved in all variants. We've tested the EV version, the 4-cylinder, and the 6-cylinder. I loved all variants of that. And that really made me think, okay, maybe I was coming into this being the entry-level BMW with maybe too low of a bar. But getting in, it's actually kind of fun. The powertrain is peppy when you know what to do. So I've put it back into personal drive mode. And in personal drive mode, yeah, it's fine. It's great for zipping around town. It's perhaps great for driving on a day like today where it is literally going to rain the entire day. There is no escaping it. It's going to make the most of the xDrive all-wheel drive. It's going to make the most of the power and efficiency of a turbocharged 4-cylinder. But if I hit my mode, put it over here in sport, you can tell it changes things without even moving my foot on the accelerator. The RPMs go up, the sound in here is a little bit different, and the look in here is different. You saw when I was showing you the different modes earlier, the lighting changes, the graphics change, and the head-up display even changes what is displayed there in front of me. So it is a much more focused environment for sporty driving. I'm not going to get too crazy because, well, it is like 20 to 25 degrees cooler than it normally is on a day like today in July here in East Texas. So that means the deer are out. I've actually already filmed a video on my favorite driving road today and have witnessed deer crossing the street. So I'm not going to go too crazy with this one. I am also on public roads, but being in sport mode, being on more smooth asphalt versus the textured pavement I tried earlier, we're going to give it another 0 to 60 acceleration, see what it can do now that I've been driving just a little bit on it. All right, full stop, full on the brake, full on the gas, jump the brake, and don't. And yeah, we had the truck not even look that I was coming. So, it's fine. It is more than enough for what a crossover buyer is shopping for. You're not looking for M4 levels of performance. There is no competition version of the X2, but it is evident that the BMW DNA is baked into this. I mentioned when I got behind the steering wheel just how good the steering wheel is. Gripping the steering wheel lets you know, okay, I'm in something a little bit more than just a normal crossover. And then putting it into sport mode, hearing that 7-speed dual clutch downshift as I come to a stop, feeling it pull and accelerate in all conditions here for me, being able to point and shoot this thing exactly where I want it to go. Yeah, it is a BMW through and through. The suspension on this is tuned by M. So yes, I've been joking that they're watering down the M brand, but there is M performance baked into this one. And even here on my favorite back road, in sport mode, you can feel the imperfections in the road. It's bouncing me around, but it's not upsetting my spine. I'm approaching 40 years old, and this is comfortable. I am not complaining about the ride. It is sporty as it should be. It's firm as it should be, but it doesn't kill me in the process. So I like that a lot. The turn in is crisp. Like I said, I can point and shoot it where I want to go. The all-wheel drive and those summer tires, again, in perfect conditions, are going to make sure that this thing goes exactly where I want it to go and help me look like a hero to perhaps my son strapped into his car seat in the back seat. My goodness. Yes. This is absolutely in its happy place in sport mode on a curvy back road such as this. Sure, the summer tires and the suspension do bring in some of that excess road noise from this highly textured pavement I'm currently on, but it's not rattly in here. It doesn't echo or reverberate in here. So yes, we are getting road noise, but it isn't an echo chamber once that road noise makes its way inside in here with me. And even here with a literal hurricane moving into East Texas, this thing is still fun to pilot and to throw around corners. Yes, again, I'm going a little more tame than I normally would in these scenarios, but I do want to make sure and hand this back to BMW, as it is the first one that the brand has brought and delivered to us for a full week's worth of testing. So as I'm carving corners back here, would I buy this over a Genesis GV70? Well, believe it or not, there is a little bit of a price savings with this current model over the last GV70 we had. So there is some benefit there. You also have the prestige of the BMW nameplate versus something like Genesis that is still trying to establish itself in the luxury market. I will say a Genesis definitely will stand out more than this. I feel like it's got more physical presence when it arrives on the scene, but I do appreciate the more tame styling of this X2 versus some of the other modern BMWs that we have on the road today. It works for me in a way that, yeah, maybe the M3 and M4 don't. But would I buy this over a Genesis? It is definitely something that would be worth exploring them head to head to see how they compare in that situation. I've become very enamored with the Genesis brand with everything that they've brought me. So the fact that I'm waffling a little bit here, not knowing if I would buy this or the Genesis, shows you just how good this is and just how good that Genesis is. Shortcomings to that Genesis though, that rear visibility cannot be ignored. Moving inside here, rearward visibility is no joke, but everything else is very nice. I will say at all speeds, this thing is very composed. It is planted on the road. It doesn't feel like you're floating or lost at speed. It doesn't feel like you're going to lose control just by going fast. And it also doesn't punish you for going slow. Though I will say, not in sport mode. In stop and go traffic, there is no defeat anywhere for the engine shut off in traffic, which is the biggest problem I have with this vehicle. It is very noticeable when the engine turns off, and it, like I said, with no defeat here on the inside, that is the biggest shortcoming of this vehicle. Stop and go traffic with the lack of defeat for that engine shut off. You can find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, as I'm carving corners back here, watching out for deer, watching out for traffic, and maintaining attraction on the road, until next time, gearheads, bye. All right. I didn't get sideways, didn't get crazy. Killing me with this glitch.